Sales. I was just telling Tone, hey, man, I'm a big conspiracy guy, okay? I like conspiracies. Ever since the Chinese government flew that balloon over America, man, the weather's been weird. I don't know. I'm a conspiracy guy, and the Chinese government, they hate America. This is never aimed at the folks, but the government, you know they hate us. Man, our weather's never been the same. Anyway, 2 weeks. We are away. 2 weeks from the NFL draft. Storylines are some of the best. You know, the NFL has done one of the absolute best jobs on the planet during the offseason. They are front page, and they're not even playing. Can you imagine that? You are the headline stories. NBA basketball, okay, the playing games. I mean, you're not moving the needle. That's not making me have appointment setting, right? It's not. Baseball, I love people that break baseball games down 11 games into the season. Wake me up in 20 games. I'll let you know how your team's doing. Everybody stumbles sometimes out of the gate. You got 160 of these things. All right? You'll figure it out. If you're good, you're good. If you're not, you're not. I mean, you're not going to catch anybody by surprise unless you were a one-year wonder. And that's what some people obviously think that the Phillies could be, a one-year wonder. One thing is not a one-year wonder. I see somebody putting up there with the Rays. Rays are they're never bad. They're always competing in the American League East with a $60 million payroll. You talk about playing Moneyball. Hey, don't ever tell me that Billy Beane has the corner on Moneyball because the Rays do it. They get the World Series. They get to ALCSs. The true team that plays Moneyball are the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, because they actually beat the Yankees and Red Sox. It's incredible what they've done. Okay, it really is. Andrew Friedman did such a great job at putting the cement down on that franchise. He now runs the Dodgers. And Andrew Silverman has done a remarkable job. I covered that team for 12 years. Okay? Hey, that's fantastic. Rob that doesn't shot. Dude, Rob's right. It's the Moneyball. Dude, that's the original Moneyball. I've known those men for over 17 years. Since they bought the team from Vince Namoli. I don't know how the Rays do it. I do not know how the Rays do it. Evan Longoria, a guy like that. And by the way, Longoria was my boy. Guy won a gold glove, signed that for me there. Look at that. When he was with the Rays, Evan Longoria there gave me this thing. Was great friends with him. You know, Paisans stick together. They're just an amazing franchise, and it all starts on Durham with them. Anyway, so that's a great ball team. And they're a 90-win team every year. Every year they're a 90-win team. And you couldn't tell me who a starter is on that team. What do they call them, like openers? Or something like that? Beginners or something? It's crazy how they've done a great job. Although, from Joe Madden to Nash, it's just such a well-run organization. And that really leads me into my topic here. So let me ask you this. As we get ready for the draft, I went on the website of the Philadelphia Eagles. And let me get this right. Howie Roseman, Joe Ferrara, Alec Halaby, assistant GM, assistant liaison, Paul Lancaster, Senior Director of Player Engagement, Connor Barwin, Director of Player Development. And then you go into the scouting department. There's another 25 names. Jesus, criminy. All these guys give input? No, thank you. Give me 5 guys that have some conviction to tell me who you have in the room, who you like to draft, and go get them. I don't need to have 700 guys. Tell me about. There was one guy in Dallas who made the decision off the recommendations of Bob Ackles. That was Jimmy Johnson. There was 2 dudes, none, and one other guy in Pittsburgh and Chuck Noll that drafted all those great players. Dude, you got all these guys and all these voices in your front office. No wonder your draft sucks. I mean it. I'm like, your draft is not consistent enough to go like this. Yeah, you build your team through the draft. They don't. Now, again, I'll say this to you. The Eagles do build their draft on the offensive side. There's more hits on the offensive side. So I'll concede to that. They do a nice job on the offense, especially in the O-line, obviously, as we mentioned, and a tight end. They're brilliant at tight end. Receiver, not so much. Running back, it's never been a priority. Okay? So whether Nakobe Dean's there or not, it doesn't really matter. Does it really matter if Nakobe Dean is there or not to the Eagles? They're okay with Nakobe Dean, even if he's not that great a player. They're okay with it. They're not going to put a lot of resources in it. And if he's not good, they'll just find another dude like they did in Chicago. Bring the guy down from Chicago. Doesn't really matter, right? Okay. Surely a lot of voices that you have in the building there. And I think that leads to a lot of the indecision. By the way, Merrill Reese will join us at the bottom of this hour at 3:30 Eastern time. I think the Eagles got their NFC championship rings yesterday. I think they got their NFC championship rings yesterday. I want to ask him how that ceremony went. I think that's what the ceremony was. Now, I want to get into some strategy here in the draft. The 3 things I would do with the Eagles' 10th pick. What would be a priority with you at the 10th pick? It could be whatever. Trade down, up, take a player. Do you need a player at 10? Do you need a player at 10 or 30? I think there is a distinction here, especially if you're talking about your quarterback's money. What do you do? What would be the number 1 priority, you think? I got 3 things that I would do with that pick. Okay? 3 things. Neil says take a player. Trade Jalen Carter no matter what. Trade up for a star. Like it. Here is my first takeaway with that 10th pick. I'm going to listen to offers first, because then I'm going to find out the value of the pick. How do you know that 10th pick is not going to be more valuable than what the 5th pick could obviously be? Because these quarterbacks are going. Anthony Richardson's going in the top 10. He's not a top 15 player. He might not even be a top 20 player. Every single quarterback except for Bryce Young is going to be overdrafted. Kid from Kentucky, the kid from Penn State, or Penn State, Kentucky, Florida, Ohio State, they're all going to be overdrafted. Every one of them. Those aren't your best players. I've got the list of my 10 best players. The 10 best players in this draft. I'm going to get to that here in a minute. But I want to tell you my philosophy before I go to the 10 best players that I think are going to be available in this draft. I shop it. Shop the pick. Hey, I'm open to hearing anything. Just like the Cardinals are open. The Cardinals are trying to get a value on the pick. How many teams want to get into that 3 hole? My estimation, 10. 10. I'd say 10 teams want to get in that 3 hole. How about if the Giants move up to 3? What if the Giants want to get into that 3 hole and get Jalen Carter? Put him on the other side of Dexter Lawrence. Wow. That changes that room. That changes that room big time. Dexter Lawrence and Jalen Carter. I feel pretty good about that front four now in New York. I feel pretty good about that. Always worry about what's going on in your division first. Now with the sale of the Commanders, there should be more stability. It's not that I'm sitting here going, Josh Harris is some great owner. Look what he's done with the Sixers. 1 billion years of tanking for what? Nothing. But it will be better than what Snyder has done. I got to think it would be. So does anyone, would the Cowboys move up to 3? To put Jalen Carter on that? I'll tell you this. If the Cowboys moved up to 3 to get Jalen Carter or Will Anderson on the other side of Michael Parsons, that changes everything. The Cowboys are getting better. Dak owns the Eagles. Okay? There's very few players in this. Remember I told you? And Chris Landry agrees, and so does Belichick. These guys think there's about 60 good players in this draft. I think there's about 53 good players in this draft. Waldo Vision says trade back and get Van Ness. Absolutely do not like that player whatsoever. He didn't start because he was an underclassman, not because of talent. That's the dumbest thing I've heard, dude. If you're good, you start anywhere. He couldn't start because he couldn't stop the run. Watch him against the run. Are you kidding me? I started as a sophomore at Miami with 7 number 1 draft choices there. If you can't start, you're trying to tell me that you have to start your senior. I mean, you couldn't even start your last year of eligibility. Not me. You can have him. Not me, man. He was a situational pass rusher in a conference that doesn't have quarterbacks. Okay? You want to know why those wide receivers at Ohio State have such great success in the Big Ten? Because there's not very any, like a giant pool of corners in that conference. There's not a giant pool of corners in that conference. Why do you think teams like the SEC destroy those teams? Destroy them. The Pac-12 teams, they annihilate. You don't have great, skilled, talented players there. You got Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and the rest of them are bums. I could go 10 deep in the Southeastern Conference and find a starter that could go and play in the NFL. You think you're going to go to Indiana and find yourself a player? I go to Vanderbilt and get a player. Okay? Tyree Smith is a good ball player. He's one of the 4 best. Okay? One of the 4 best. All right? There's 3 legitimate wow players. Again, don't forget Merrill Reese bottom of the hour. So I would listen to offers. My second move. How is that? Because today, look, even on April 27th when the draft starts, you're not going to know until 10 minutes before your pick what's up. You have no idea. So you have to look at the pool of players. If everything goes to suit and everyone's gone that you want, I'm not taking a lesser player like I did a year ago. I'm not taking a lesser player. Like you did last year with Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis will never be the 13th player taken. Ever. Okay? He'll never be Fletcher Cox. He's not. He's not going to be a dominant player like that. That's a dominant football player. Fletcher Cox lived up to his billing his rookie year even. I mean, you saw potential big time. And you went, wow. Limited snaps, limited games. He was a force. If he had played in all games and started them all, he probably would have had 10 sacks his rookie year. He was a good player. Here we go, what? Bro, I'm trying to help your roster here. I don't give a shit what the name on the back of the jersey is. Stop falling in love with these players. This is about the Eagles winning a Super Bowl, not about whether or not you want to be butt buddies with a guy or not, and you want to wear his jersey or this or that. It's got nothing to do with that. This is about winning football games. Yeah, but I really like this guy. Shut up. This is about a team winning. And if you get hurt because you happen to like one guy versus another, I never looked at it like that. I looked at it, is my team going to win 12 or 13 games? How can we get there? Hey, cut this guy, cut that guy, save this guy, sign that guy. That's all I care about. And if you got to cut someone you like, so what? How many teams do you see that hold on to players too long? We see it everywhere. Because of guys like Tyler or Yacht. Because a guy like Yacht who falls in love with a guy, he wants to keep him on the team as long as he can. Screw that. You're not productive. You're gone. This is professional football. This is not a GI Bill. You're not on scholarship anymore. This is about building a championship team. It's not about loving guys. I told you this before. Great general managers fall in like with their guys, not love with their guys. Because the moment that you're drafted or you're signed is the moment your clock in the sand starts dropping through the hourglass when you will be released, cut, or traded. End of story. End of story. End of story. One of the first things I learned since covering sports, don't fall in love with the name. Does it help me win? Yes or no? If not, pack your bags. That's what Tone's saying. He's right. But, you know, we really had a great affiliation for this. You keep players like that on your roster, you'll never be good. You'll always be the Jets. You'll always be the Jets. Okay? Yacht, it's all good. The third thing I would do is obviously trade down. Do you think you're going to – hey, let me ask you this. You think you're going to get more picks with the 30th pick or the 10th pick? Ask yourself that. If you're going to trade out of that, what pick gives you the best quality picks? Remember something. If you're down at 30, most of the time you're trading with those good teams. That means you'll be picking at the bottom of the majority of the drafts rounds, the next 4 or 5 rounds. Bottom of the 3rd, bottom of the 4th, bottom of the 5th. But if you're at 10, you're most likely dealing with teams that are shitty, like Houston. I would love to trade with Houston. Boy, I tell you what, man, if I'm the Eagles, boy, I get on the horn with Nick Caserio, the general manager, and go, how many picks will it take for you to take the 10th pick off me? 4? Oh, first rounder maybe next year? Oh, okay. That's a win. That's a win. If Jalen Carter, Will Anderson is not in shouting distance, Tyree Wilson, or B.J. Robinson, the idiots that say not to draft B.J. Robinson will have you draft Myles Murphy or Van Ness or some of these other dudes. Defensive end doesn't help you win a Super Bowl this year. And I can't believe it. Tone sent this earlier to me. Paulie Short, a guy over on the Philadelphia Inquirer, works with WIP. I can't believe we fell in line with this. This draft here has everything to do with winning the Super Bowl, not 2025. I don't give a shit about 2025. The only thing I care about right now, The only thing I care about right now is what? Winning the Super Bowl. That's the only thing you should care about is winning the Super Bowl. You're a Super Bowl contending football team. Act like it. Act like it. Don't act like a rebuild. You're not in a rebuild. You're in a position to win a Super Bowl. Emmanuel Forbes does nothing for you this year. Nothing. Okay, so wait a minute here. Listen to the ideology that, by the way, do I think that Howie's going to draft Bijan Robinson at 10? No. But here's why he sucks in the draft. Get this, the same people who are telling me right now that they won't take Robinson in the 10th pick, what's Howie's greatest draft choice? What's Howie's best pick in his entire time being in the building and having something to do with personnel? What's Howie's best pick? Yet to be determined if it's Hurts. We don't know that yet. Screwed up the Wentz deal. Jalen Reagor. What? Fletcher Cox? Okay. Fletcher Cox. All right. I'm all right with that. That's a hell of a pick. Who else? Jordan Mailata? Okay. This is 23 years. Lane? Sure. Okay. On defense, what's his best pick in his 23 years? And you want that guy to go over there and pick one. What's his best pick? Fletcher Cox. Then you fall off to Brandon Graham. I watched Will Anderson film, and he gambles a lot. Misses tackles, but he's really good against the RPO. He's better than Parsons. Okay? The pick is the running back. You know it. Because it helps Jalen. I'm going to give you the 10 best players in the draft. And I'm going to show you every time you hear somebody talking about Nolan Smith or some of these other guys who are evaluated at 20. Okay? Here's the 10 best players. Here's the 10 best players. According to the Carolina Panthers. Okay? People always say it's not Howie's nature to draft a running back in the first round. Well, guess what? Stranger things have already happened. The Eagles traded for a superstar wide receiver in A.J. Brown in last year's draft. I think Howie shocks us again. Why wouldn't he when he's one player away from winning the Super? Hey, let me say this to you. That defense on the other side of the football is a bunch of rejects that you signed in the offseason. You're going to have to outscore people. Who gives you the best chance of outscoring? A wide receiver? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? A running back helps you. An elite one. Dude, like I said, you don't have elite backs. Gainwell's going to have 70 catches. Why hasn't he? How long has he been on the team? How long has Kenneth Gainwell been on the team? Can someone tell me? How long has Kenneth Gainwell been on the team? How many years now is this for Kenneth Gainwell? How many years? He's in his third year. And again, he's going to have 80 or 65 catches. Where do you get that from? Dude, if they saw that talent in the kid, they'd have been working him in over Miles Sanders last year. Miles Sanders had 1,300 yards rushing and 11 touchdowns. And he's a good back. He's not elite. Okay, he's not Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook on that offense would have had 1,700 yards rushing probably 60 catches. People go like this, well, Sills, the running back position, why would you put so much equity in it? Because the Eagles are this close. They need one more player to beat Kansas City. They need one more player to keep Dallas off their heels. So if Dallas gets Bijan Robinson, are they better? Yeah. If they get Derrick Henry, I think they're going to get, hey, talking with the Cowboys, I think they're either going to get Derrick Henry or Bijan Robinson. And I think that beats the pants off you because Dak beats the pants off you. Dak beats you. And with Derrick Henry behind him, you think you're what? Going to slow it down? With what? Jordan Davis? Really? You couldn't stop the run last year. Now you got a lesser ball team. Or at least a lesser defense. All right. It's very simple. Here, just so you know my take on it, if I had 5 or 6 holes to fill on my team and my team was a 6-win team, I would never take a running back. I wouldn't take a running back in the top 3 rounds. I would never do that. I'm one player away. I don't care if he's a placeholder. I'm going to take him. Because if I need one player, here, Will Anderson and Carter help you a lot. A guard probably helps you more, or Paris Johnson, because it protects Jalen and you run the ball. And then you could take that collection of convention center people of running backs, and you could probably win ball games with those guys. Put more heat on your quarterback, though. I'll tell you what, you go the way you're going with that crew of running backs that you have, Jalen Hurts won't finish the year. If you go into the season with that crew of running backs, Jalen Hurts won't finish the season. Why? Because he'll be asked to carry the ball more. Your best running back's the quarterback. Last year, it wasn't. Do you know what a change that was from the year previous? And again, no wishful thinking. I'm trying to help you guys here. I'm not trying to shit on anybody. Taking a wide receiver or taking an edge rusher with the 10th pick is asinine. He found an edge rusher in free agency last year who had 16 sacks. What's dumber? Taking a gamble on an edge rusher? He found Hassan Reddick for nothing. For nothing. No draft equity was lost with him. Think about that. If Howie's going to pay Jalen big money, every move he makes is going to forward, has to be in the best interest of the quarterback. Period. With Baltimore, hey, I'll tell you what, I got to change my opinion on Baltimore with OBJ. It looks like Lamar Jackson did some recruiting there. You think they gave a quarterback the ability to go get OBJ? The Ravens are probably going, I don't know if he can make the full season, but if Lamar wants him and Lamar thinks he can help, let's sign him. They gave him $15 million. You talk about overdrafting. How about overpaying? But Lamar wanted him. So Lamar got him. And if Jalen Hurts is going to give the Eagles a hometown discount and some money, he has to be privy to the moves that you're making offensively if you're going to draft somebody. He's got to. I would say that's imperative.